All right.
Let me call what?
It's called Mary.
John lost him.
What happened?
He left. They let him out to go to the bathroom.
We're sorry. We're unable.
Gone.
Oh,
You know, they
I
live
didn't
out
get
there.
What
that.
kind?
He's a lad, but they ain't got the name. He's got a red cover on, but he had the new GPS thing ordered and hadn't got it.
Hey, Mary.
He had GPS.
All right, we're getting ready to start.
They love that.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be here.
All right.
Looking forward.
All right.
Who was
Well, not my time.
Yeah, no, don't hang up.
No,
Crack of dawn and
and Mary CH will be here, so you got the phone to yourself.
said black lad.
I didn't hear you. You said CH is what?
CH couldn't make it, so you'll have the phone to yourself.
I had about 50 people to share.
Oh,
Put it on
he's
last
there?
night.
No, he couldn't attend either way.
Oh, okay. Okay, sounds good. I'm here.
Okay.
A message that said
I'll
that
share it.
he's not down there.
Okay, I'll share it. I'll go on yours and share it too. And I'll go right around looking.
All right, it's that time, and I'll call the meeting to order, and, see, CH is absent, and Miss Mary's on the phone, and we have everyone else is present, along with the counselor.
Still have to do a roll call vote.
What's that?
Okay.
All right, first order of business to approve the minutes. Got a motion by Jim and second by Christie. Call the roll, Miss Secretary.
Keith,
Aye.
Jim, Christy, Mary,
Yes.
the minutes, do you agree with the minutes, approving the minutes? Oh, I lost her.
I'm so sorry. I think I did the wrong thing, but you know, I'm still learning. We just go to meeting and Zoom and everything.
No,
With the minutes.
that's
Yes, I
fine.
agree.
Okay, all right.
Okay. All right. Well, not mine.
Yeah, don't buy.
All right, minutes are approved, so we'll head on to the financials.
Before we do the financials, in case you've not heard, all of you may have, that Richard passed away yesterday morning.
Oh.
Yeah, about
What
1
did you
o'clock.
say, Tim? I couldn't hear you.
Richard Fortner, our prior operations manager, he's been out on long-term disability. He passed away yesterday morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I talked to Vicky today. I mean, she's fine. I mean, she's been expecting this.
Right.
I think they're not gonna have
He's gonna be cremated.
he's gonna be cremated, have a small gathering at his house. Come and go as you want over several days.
Good.
So,
Perfect.
anyway,
That's nice.
so, and Penny will be looking into, talking to Richard Ellis about retirement. He's gonna turn 65 August,
He's right at it
October.
right now.
October, I think.
Yeah.
And so anyway, she'll start drawing his retirement. Okay, financials, I got the TVA report up. I'm on page 2, looking at the net income for the month. It was a negative 10,458. The last year was the same month, negative 30,600. Year to date, we're at 353,600 to the good, compared to last year, 172,000 in the hole. If we go to page 3 and look at the month to date statistical data, revenue less power costs for this April was $270,000 compared to $265,000 same period last year. Year to date, we're at $3,131,000 compared to $2,924,000 last year. So we're tracking pretty much like we thought we would. The kilowatt hour sales looked a little funny. I had to go back and think about them when I put together. But first, before we look at that, Mary, you can't see this, but I'm talking about the temperature degree days.
Okay.
In
I'm listening, though.
April of this year, we had a whole lot more heating degree days than we did last year, which is gas heat mainly. Much less cooler degree days. Actual degree days, you add those two together and divide by those two, is 10% higher. If you look at sales though, we sold 13% more this April than we did last April. And with fewer cooler degree days, I thought that was odd. You got to think about it, everybody's been staying home for the last 2 months. And this is April usage. So I made a note, the residential people all stayed at home. Conversely, the small commercial, the strip malls and the small less than 50 kW, a lot of them shut down.
Yeah.
And they're down 15%. And then our large, well, this is 50 kW above, a lot of that was some of our diners that closed down, like the Mexican place, they're a class 50 account. And so I think we might see this continue next month. Remember, this is April usage. We just opened things back up in May. But anyway, I was encouraged to see these numbers as well as they were. To my knowledge, we had no factory shut down. Charles ran out of sugar or something one Friday. Had to send people home for a few hours, but everybody else ran. I drove by and I thought, what's going on? I tried to call HT. And the girl at the chamber sent out an email. No one get concerned. They're not shutting down because of COVID. They ran out of whatever their stock is. So anyway, so the TVA report looks pretty much like we thought it would. For the month, we're down 5.7% compared to last year, 5.2 on sales, purchase power. Any questions about the TVA report? If not, we'll move on to the budget, the April budget. Month to date, we ended up $109,000 to the good. We had budgeted to be at $102,800, and so it's pretty close on that. Year to date on the April budget, actual cash position is $1,169,000. We had budgeted to be at $735,000, so it's about $433,000 difference there. Which a lot of that has to do with the dollar sales on TVA on us. And we didn't do a lot of some of the projects we thought we would. The skate is still lingering, such as that. So I did put a couple of notes on the front page of the budget. Everything was pretty much in order. Do anybody have any questions about the budget?
Tim, I don't have a question about the budget, but you did make a note about Comcast. Are they paid up to date now?
They are. You know,
Okay. You know, they had that little issue a little while back, but they are up to date now, right?
yes, they paid. Matter of fact, I called him, I don't know, a month ago. Said, look here, I ain't got that bill yet. The guy, Andy Mackey down in Atlanta, in 2 days I got it. So, but you know, we're doing quite well with them. There are some utilities, I know Rockwood Utility between Nashville and Knoxville, they're behind 3 years. They owe them about $400,000. And they can't make them pay. So I think Southwest put the figure into them last year. They said, we're going to cut everybody in Tipton County off. And so they paid, I don't know about this year. Yeah, they paid a little late. They typically pay a little late. We budget for March. We send it out January, and give them a couple months to pay it. But yeah, they came on through with that payment. Any other questions about the April budget? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve the April financials.
This is Mary, so moved.
Second by Jim. Call the roll, Madam Secretary.
Christie?
Aye.
Jim? Keith?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Okay.
Carries.
The next item for discussion is the repayment agreement for large commercial accounts. I failed to discuss this last month when we talked about the repayment for residential and the small commercials, the mom and pops, strip malls and whatever. Their bills run $100 to $200 a month, so we can handle the small commercial and the residential repayment agreements. Anything above that, if they're behind 3 months, I'm gonna give them 3 months payback. I'm gonna let y'all know that. I'm not gonna, if they're, small commercial and residential back behind $600, they're gonna have 6 months to pay it back. But if Pizza Hut, we'll talk about it in a minute, they ain't paid in 2 months, $5,000. I don't give them 50 months to pay it back, 2 months. So that's, I just want to make y'all aware of the fact that the
So
repayment,
now why would it just be 2 months for them?
that's all they hadn't paid.
Oh,
Well,
right.
they owe us $5,000,
Gotcha.
we're getting $100 a month off everybody else.
Right, okay.
It'd take 50 months to get back $5,000.
Have they ever done that before?
No. And we've called and they said checks was mailed, but we ain't seen it. We've made a bunch of calls lately and we got some things paid.
That's Pizza Hut?
Yeah, Pizza Hut.
Oh,
We'll look at it. I'm going to show you the arrears when we get down to the bottom of the page here. So I just want to make y'all aware of that. Update on COVID-19. Governor Lee did pass an executive order 34 that allows us to continue meeting like this through the end of June. So next month, Barry, if you need to, you can still do a conference call. The July board meeting, unless he rescinds his executive order 34, we'll all have to be in attendance to vote at the July board meeting.
As things
Yes.
as things continue to improve, I hope to be there. All of my fears will be gone, hopefully, and all of my family members will have survived Corona.
Well, thank you, because it's going to go up and down. We know it. Opening back up, we're going to see more or less. The active cases in the county are at 42 now, I think. Down to 42. They dropped 300 and something yesterday. The prison cleared it. So, past due accounts. We did run cutoffs March 25th, April 7th. But we didn't run 3 Cycle A cutoffs and 2 Cycle B. Cycle B will be supposed to be cut off next week. So what I'm going to show you is from 3 A's and 2 B's and show you what the other B may look like. Let me pull this slide up. And I apologize, Mary, I just put this slide together. You won't have a copy of it. No one does. It's on the board here. But what I did, I actually had Terry pull up this morning everything, a snapshot at that point in time, because people have come in and paid since then. So we've got 2 billing cycles, Cycle A and Cycle B. And this shows you what's classed. 22 is residential, 40 small commercial. And so I'm looking at total past due. It runs from 10 cents, which we're not going to send them a contract to sign. For anything less than $12, we're not going to do it. Well, actually less than 100. Down to $857 is most anyone owes. That's Thomas Laughlin over here on Burnett. Some church pays his bill all the time. They ain't paid in a while. He promised he'd pay by the 3rd. He won't. Anyway, so having said all that, on the A cycle bills, they're past due $14,500 on A cycle. You'll see what was past due 90 days. That's Jose Flores for some reason. But 61 to 90 days is $2,700. 31 to 60 is $3,700. These just went past due on 5/15. That's the dates they were past due. We would have cut these off on 5/26 Tuesday, but we didn't. And that's all you're gonna see, Bill, up here, because Next bill, they're gonna pay the bill and get cut off. So this should be all we'll see on A cycle, right here.
But if they owe, and we're gonna give them like 2 months or whatever.
No, we're gonna give them, the repayment agreement says this person here has 9 months to pay back.
So we won't cut him off if he does, if he pays back what he owes, we're not gonna cut him off.
As long as he pays his current bill that's due, plus
Whatever.
signs
Okay.
that repayment
Okay.
agreement. And you know, we set the repayment agreement up $100 a month, so that's about what a bill runs. Of course, some of them run more. And when we send the agreement out, which we'll do one day next week, the bills went out today. And all the A-cycle bills will have that letter to everybody saying, you know, if you owe us money, you gotta pay it. Not everybody does. We'll let them get the bill, and then Terry's gonna run this list again. Terry and Penny will run this list again and get it exactly right as of a snapshot in time. Terry's developed a mail merge list that will take past due amounts, put them on that repayment agreement that I showed you, calculate the monthly amount. So he'll pay, he's got 9 months to pay it back, and so it'll be $857 divided by 9.
Yeah.
And as long as he pays his current bill plus that $93 a month, he'll be okay. But the first month he doesn't pay at 93, gonna cut him off. And he's gonna come up with the 93. Or else these people take forever. They'll never pay us back. So that's, you know, we don't have a lot of them that big.
They don't have to sign the agreement.
Yes, they do. They have to sign that agreement.
I mean, but what if they don't sign it now?
Then they get
Just
cut
cut
off.
off?
The letter tells them emphatically that it's coming. And then when we send the agreement out with a different cover page, it says, here it is. You have to sign this in order not to be disconnected.
Okay.
You got to pay your current
They
bill.
might say, well, I'm not gonna sign it. Is that okay? I got
No,
it, yeah.
no, I don't want to back
Okay.
them. And we'll talk about this in a minute. They're not even going to ask for help yet. No one's cutting them off. And we'll talk about this with Delta, the church, just a minute, because I talked to both of them today.
I just didn't know if how they were gonna hand that, so we don't have to sign that, yeah.
Yeah.
But you will cut them off if they don't.
With the cover letter, when we send the repayment agreements out to those that owe money, cover letter says, first off, all bills that are due have a June due date must be paid in full to avoid disconnection for non-payment of current bills.
Okay.
The next paragraph says, in addition to that, you have $300 in arrears. You have to sign this repayment agreement, agreeing to the terms, and y'all read it, and agree to those terms to avoid disconnection for non-payment for past due amounts.
Okay.
So I was very specific in how I worded that.
That's
So they know it's 2 different parts to it.
Okay, good.
So
Okay.
now we're gonna have a lot of people gonna get mad. A lot of people gonna say, I didn't get a bill, didn't get a repayment agreement. We put it in, I don't know if y'all saw the article in the paper last Thursday on page 2. It's one I wrote about half a page for me and for us in the city, and she put it in last Tuesday, verbatim the way I wrote it, and it looked great. But it says, this is Covenant Electric's plan for reopening and collecting past due accounts. This is the city of Covington's plan for the same. And we're going to send a letter to all 5,000 customers. Then we're going to send another letter to those people on this list. They'll have plenty of warning, but they still going to come and say, I didn't get it. I got my bill, didn't get the letter. No. So when we cut them off, that will bring them in. And then when they come in, if they'll pay their current bill and sign the repayment agreement and pay that first month, I'll cut them back on. But if they don't pay the current bill plus the first month of repayment, I'm not gonna cut them on.
Yeah, we've been good to them.
We've been very good.
Now will reconnect fee?
No, we're not. Well, starting next month they will. So we've waived all the late charges and all penalties and all that stuff. Matter of fact, if you noticed on the TV report, forfeited discounts was minus $1.86. Cause we charged no one late fees, and then someone included that on a final bill, so we credited it back to you. That's a $30 bill or whatever. So it's, so, you know, if anybody calls y'all and fusses about this, send them to me. Because it's very detailed what we have to do to get this exact thing right, and the timing for all of it to get it right.
Yeah. That's true.
So the new bills come out and don't overlap and all kind of stuff.
Sounds like it's good.
That's
So
103 people.
that's 99.
99.
Because I started on line 4 up here.
Okay,
so-
I got you.
I'm sorry, and I'm gonna give a summary of this just a minute.
Okay.
So I got 99 residential on Cycle A, $14,500. And also Cycle A, I've got 2 commercial accounts. Walter Gaines on the Mill Road, that's an old church over there across from the Handle Mop Factory. And then there's Pizza Hut right there, National Pizza. They hadn't paid the bill due 4/15 or 5/15. They said they were, and then we'll get it from them. This is outdoor lighting for Smithville Trailer Park. We'll get that too. We'll cut them off. Some outfit out of California owns it. Yeah.
Who owns Pizza Hut?
I don't know if you're an independent franchise or what. I don't know.
I thought maybe Pepsico did, but that may be not right anymore.
Okay. All right, that's A cycle. That's pretty much written in stone as of this morning. B cycle, don't be alarmed when you see it, 'cause I got to explain it to you. On B cycle residential accounts, they run from 39 cents to $741. Right now, we would have cut them off earlier, been cut off. That's $11,122. This is what was due on 5/26. Is $52,000 was due on 5/26. A lot of these people they live off the Social Security and government checks. A lot of these people pay on 3rd or 4th, 2nd, 3rd or 4th when the checks come in. I expect that $52,000 that's gone into arrears to dwindle down to 12 or 15. Because a lot of these people, they do come in and pay late because they're on fixed income. And then on the class 40s, we've got 66 on there so far. A lot of these are repeats, like Sunrise Apartments. I don't know why he's on there. He's got to pay. You know he's going to pay. But we got a lot of Sunrise Apartments. These are apartments that they put back into their name, the tenants out of. They paid all of A-Cycle last week. They had about 25 accounts they hadn't paid. They were late and they paid it.
What about George, what's Show? What about that?
Something about Travis Brothers.
That's right, yeah. I think it is. Yeah. I mean, it's not much. So, in summary, on A-Cycle, we've got 99 residential that owe us $14,488. We've got 3 commercial accounts that owe us $2,600. On B-Cycle, we know for sure residential owes us about $11,100 and about $850 for the commercial. And I expect what was due on 5/26 that we would normally cut off on 6/4. I expect that $52,000 to go way down because a lot of these people do pay late. We're not in as bad a shape as I thought we was going to be. A lot of people come in. A lot of people paid ahead. And it's just, but the ones you see up there are the ones that have chosen not to pay. They've just chosen not to pay. And it's been since day one. All right, any questions about that quick summary? So let me tell you what's going on with the church in Delta helping these people. So I put in your packet some information that the ladies are giving out to everybody that comes through the drive-thru that's in arrears. They say, here, there's people that can help you. You have to take the initiative, please call them. Don't wait till the last minute. And y'all have got that. The first page is a cover page I put together. The second page is Delta information. The next couple of pages is Methodist Church. First part of it deals with their existing Roundup Fund, which they did not change. And the second part of it deals with the COVID Care Fund, which is the $20,000 that we and TVA put in. So I called the church today, and Liz said that this has been going on, what, month and a half? We've been trying to get people to go up there. They've had 2 applicants.
That's unreal.
One
I
of
just can't believe that.
2 applicants. And they paid both of them. One of them was $78, and they did it on the COVID Care. The other was $422. They did it under Roundup. It was not a COVID Care problem. It was they lost their job or house burn or something other. And so they pay. And normally they don't pay the full amount on the Roundup stuff. They may pay $7,500. Well, they had 2 applicants. That's it. And Liz, she said, we're braced for it. We're ready. Because we're telling everyone, go to Delta, go to the church or other churches. So Delta has sent us, they don't send us one check a month, maybe towards the end of the month. They sent us 2 big checks to cover 43 accounts, and they pay a flat amount either $350 or $500, depending on your level of need. The 43 accounts they paid in the last 2 months was $21,000 worth, which is good. Now I know that LIHEAP got $800 million in that first round of stimulus. They're supposed to get $1.3 billion in one of the other rounds, or maybe it's the one that's being held up now in the House and Senate. So, but Kathy told me when I talked to Kathy Johnson, she said, we got the money, but they're not going to come up here till you cut them off. She said this a month ago. She said they're not coming up here till you cut them off. So anyway, so both those payments, we're giving that information out to everybody that's in arrears. And until we cut them off, they're not going to make the effort to go get help. What's going to happen to church is $20,000 fine. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, that's gonna hurry up and gone.
And so we try to encourage people. Well, Kathy's heard them talking today to the girls. Don't wait the last minute. They're coming through. Go up and get it. Okay. Any questions about that part of where we're at with the COVID-19 update?
That's a new one, all the SUPPP.
No, I didn't.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is
They're gonna see it. 24 weeks.
the budget.
I asked you that.
I included in this month's agenda the budget for y'all's review and approval if you're so minded to do that. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. What I sent to y'all. You find it. Master budget. All right, so if you get out that, what I sent to you in the packet for next year's budget, if you look at the first page behind the cover page, that is our projected cash flow statement for next year. If everything goes as we plan it to, will be $401,667 to the good. And typically we end up better than that. All right, if you flip to the next page, you'll see on there, I'm showing last year's budget and this year's budgeted amount. And then the variances to the side. And that's going to be true on all the 3 pages that are included here.
I'm off first. Let's see.
Did you not get a budget?
I don't know. I did. I don't
Let's
see
look
it.
and see.
I'm looking hard.
Hold on, Mary. We got a technical delay here.
That ain't it, is it?
No. All right. Jim's got his budget now. Sorry about that.
Do you want mine?
No. I don't think I made any notes on that. If I did, you tell me what I said.
Only if it's good or bad.
So anyway, like I say, that when you look at the comparison sheet, it tells you what last year's budget was, what we're proposing this year, and the over and under variance. The next sheet will give you the operating expenses, payroll, economic development, CSA charges, so forth. The last sheet shows our capital expenditures. And so when we get to the end of the year, if everything works out, we're budgeting 401,667 to the good. Last year we budgeted 616,9. We'll end up around $1,000,003 or so. I did include a couple pages at the back of that handout that talked about some of the variances in the budget. We can go through those if you need to discuss them. And by the way, CH called, said everything looked fine to him. He wasn't going to be here, but said everything looked fine with him. I don't have a part to write up in case I ask any questions. Not that one. Excuse us a minute, Mary, we're shuffling papers. Did you not get one either?
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, I think so.
I put it on top.
Talk to my stuffer. It's like the last couple pages. Yeah, go ahead.
Where is the new drive-through? Is that just going to be a second lane that you can now just drive through, but you're going to put it so that they can access that?
Yes, the lane is already there. It has been ever since we built the building. All it lacks
that's what I'm saying.
all it lacks is that
there.
tube. All it lacks is that tube.
Okay, so you're just going to put that there, okay.
Yeah,
I thought so, but I just wanted
Right,
to.
and it will look like what you see at in South Bank. It doesn't look like the one at Walgreens. It's a little cage. It don't look like that. It's a tube. Yeah. So it's and we're going to try to get them to have it installed so we pay for it in July. Quicker the better. There's a sending unit and receiving unit and about 25 foot of 4-inch tube goes between them, blower motor. Yeah, that's where it goes, Mary. And then there's a sign already up there, I think, but they'll make sure that sign works open or closed or whatever.
Yeah, I thought that's where it was, but I just.
Right.
Just asked.
Okay, any questions at all about next year's proposed budget? We looked at it hard. I feel comfortable with the numbers. I think we'll end up a little better than we're budgeting.
So we're doing 2% payroll.
Yeah, I looked at that for a long time. I always started looking at February, March, April at CPIU, and it was running about 2.5, 2.6, 2.4. Before that, well, come March, it went down to 1.7. Then in April, it went to 0.3. And so I've got to. I didn't make a copy of it. That's the last 12 months, that red line up there. It's been hovering around 2.2, 2.3. And so I said, well, we did 2 something last year, let's do 2. I talked to Justin after I decided 2, and he said they're doing 2. And I read in the paper the city of Mason's doing 2 this year too. So it seems to be acceptable number.
Where are we with drug testing?
We're doing, Mary, the question was, how are we doing the drug testing? We're doing the commercial drivers already. We haven't started the non-commercial. We were going to do it May, but we've been sidetracked with this COVID stuff. And we got to get the lady come in and do some training and such as that. And so we just said, we'll call you whenever we're...
So are you doing the test, or are you sending them out to be tested?
We're sending them out to Dyersburg to, I forget the name. Yeah, Workforce. Work Care. They're a big outfit up there. They do a lot of utilities, a lot of industry. They'll do
And I'm
the...
gathering a 15 panel, 15 panel test?
There's 2 different panels, whether you're doing alcohol or we're doing drugs. And it's done by the Department of Highway and Safety Administration. The CDL drivers are. And because that's much more stringent than a regular, than me or Kathy would be. Then on the alcohol testing, I think it's 6 or 7 things they look at. I think it's like $30, $25, $30 a test.
That's good though.
Yeah. Well, it just keeps us honest. That's all it does. But we've only...
Is it an annual requirements here?
The testing is, there are requirements on how many people you test every year, a percentage. And the way that block goes down with us, we're gonna test, every 3 months, we'll test one lineman for drugs and alcohol. At random, maybe the same lineman every 3 months. Cause we don't choose it, this company chooses it.
It's a good company.
With the non-CDLs, we'll test them every 3 months, and it's 2 people every 3 months, and then once a year we got to send 3 for some reason. Or maybe we got to send 2. Once a year you got to do an alcohol. Every time you got to do a drug test for CDLs, and once a year you got to do an alcohol test for CDLs. So it's completely random, Mary. Everybody is subject to being
I know
tested.
they do, it's a random pool and all of that. I just didn't know what your guidelines were to say. All employees once a year, or you go using the random choice.
It's strictly random. Like I said, I could be tested every time or never get tested. But
Yes, I understand.
Right. Any other questions?
Is that the way other companies do that, random like
Yeah.
that? Kind of catches me. I thought you'd have blanketed everybody one time, and then,
No.
here you go. Then
It's I mean, we had the one problem, but it's to keep people honest.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, but I would have thought you go, here's our baseline, here we are.
Well, we baseline them when we hire them. They get tested then, but we baseline them when we hire them. They get tested on hiring. And if you have an accident, certain things you get tested and required. If vehicles towed or citations issued, all that's by the CDL guidelines. So, if there's no more questions about budget, I'd ask for approval for next year's budget, and we can get this thing started for next year.
All right, we need a motion, I guess. Motion by Christie, second by Jim. Call roll.
Mary,
Yeah,
Christine, Jan, Keith.
Aye.
All right, thank you for that. We're gonna, Debo called, who's doing the drive-through, called last week, said, we're waiting on a PO. I said, well, it's gonna be after we approve the budget. So we'll call them tomorrow and get them started, as long as we don't pay for it before July 1.
Yeah.
Because that's when it's in the budget, and they'll understand that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, just a couple more quick things, information items. The FCA went up a little bit, but we went from transition rates to summer rates, which jacked the bill up about $5.50 for 1,000 kilowatt hours. It happens every year. It'll go down that much in October. Chapter 11 filings. I told you last month that Wallace had filed Chapter 11. They owed us about $32,000 or $33,000 that month. And then they was into us another 12 days for about $22,000. They end up owing us $57,000 that we have written off their account. Now it's still showing as a bad debt on their account, but their account balance today is zero. We did get a phone call, a couple of them called Penny, wanted to get a copy of the total amount. And he called Terry back, asked her to explain something on it. And lo and behold, today we got a check for $10,433. We don't know why. It don't match anything we've sent to them. And so I said, hurry up, put it on. I said, hurry up, put it on that $57,000 for a change of mind.
Yeah.
Then I told Penny, I said, call up here and just fish around and say, we're trying to figure out which hole to put this $10,000 in. It didn't match any of ours. What's it for? So maybe they're going to try to pay it. Don't know.
I've had a couple of conversations with folks from out there, not necessarily management folks. And apparently that division made a $57 million profit last year.
You talking about the Covenant Division?
The TOPS
division,
of
right.
LSC Communications made a $57 million profit. The other two main divisions lost a whole lot more than that.
Yeah.
So what they expect is maybe TOPS will be bought out by somebody in bankruptcy, but nobody seems overly concerned about their job or the long-term prospects for the plant because they're very, I don't know if they have other top plants or maybe that's the old one.
There are 11 plants scattered across the southeast
All
somewhere.
top plants.
At one time they were, because you went into the main lobby, they had pictures of all of them
Yeah.
scattered. I think it was 11, 10
But
of
it's
them.
their printing and magazines and that sort of thing that's not doing well, but the paper supply, notebooks and stuff is doing well. So hopefully it won't affect us in Covey.
Right. Yeah, that's 200 or 300 jobs out there, hate to lose. They're not a big load, maybe 800 kW, about the size of a hospital. They've actually shed some load in the last 7 or 8 years. It used to be bigger than that. The other chapter 11 we got was from Goodies. Right now they're $152 credit. They were paid somewhere. We got a $3,600 cash deposit on which I'm not supposed to touch, but I'm gonna wait and see if they pay the next bill. Then I'll take action one way or the other. And they know they got a $3,600 deposit. It's on that list. So hopefully that'll take care of itself. The last thing I want to look at our investments from the bank. What I wrote down may not make sense because I'm overlapping time periods. But our assets did increase almost $400,000 from April 1st to 5/21 when I wrote this. And since then, it's picked up another $22,000. And so if you go back to what our beginning balance was on 3/1, which is kind of prior to the main hit of COVID, we were at $5,176,000, and as of 5/21, we're at $5,148,000. So our investments have come back. And hopefully they'll stay back, but who knows? Who knows? So, all right, that's all the information I had to share, unless any of y'all have any questions about anything.
I also asked you about the last Sunday or Sunday before last. What happened with all that? Was that a TVA thing?
No, actually it was a squirrel thing. Up at Court Square Cafe, behind there. There's a 3-phase bank, and there's a big old pine tree on the hill just south of it. And I don't know if it's a guy wire runs through or what, but a squirrel got on there and caused a massive fault. 8,000 amps BNC phase. And what it did, it blinked the lights in my house, which it shouldn't have. Well, 8,000 amp fault, because if from where that was at, it feeds back to the north substation, feeds your house, feeds kind of Court Square back this way. Includes a bunch of churches, because they were called time to be back on. But it was such a massive fault, it burnt solid steel brackets like you took a plasma cutter to them.
Well, I was out. I thought I'm going to hurry and get these flowers planted before everybody starts coming down Main Street.
But I think
I'll tell you something. Showers, sparks were all over me.
your transformer blew up and all this happened.
Trust me, I know.
Was you out there with it?
I was underneath it. And I mean...
Do I need to buy you a new workout shirt?
It was unbelievable. And Matt McGowan said, "Chrissy, are you okay?" And I said, "Oh my God." And I said, "Matt," and I was by the time I was on the top of that steps, I said, "I don't even remember coming up these steps." He said, "You didn't, you flew." He said, "All I remember," he said, "I raised the shade on my window, look at, and all I could see you in midair." I'm telling you, sparks were everywhere.
Yeah. We had,
I couldn't believe it.
that's what initiated the big fault. And when it did, it was such a massive fault. It sucks the voltage all out of whack, the primary voltage. It goes to 0 on one leg and goes to 15,000 on the other, just instantaneously. And I mean, this breaker operates in 5 cycles. That's a 1/12 of a second. That's how fast it is. But during this time, the voltages get all screwed up. And so it blew your transformer, blew 2 arresters, one on Feezer and one out north, somewhere north of that. And it all started out towards your house in front of Fowler. A squirrel got on his transformer, had nothing to do with y'all's. But as we was driving up to take care of that, they get all the rest of the calls. And that feeds off a different substation. That feeds off the circuit feed your house and hospital. And so, and then we had calls from
What
lights
did
blinking.
it do? Did it bite the wires, the squirrel?
It got on the wires and made contact with something grounded, either an arrestor tail or stepped off the wire onto the top of the transformer or something.
Did your lights go out, Keith? You guess your
Not
lights
that
go out?
I remember.
Well, it blinked them all over the place. I mean, at my house, which feeds off this station. But I went out, was out there and interrogated each of the breakers, and I've got the stuff written down. It was 7, 23, 18 point something seconds. All of them showed an event where the voltage went screwy, and they show things going on, but that's the only one that operated. And it's such a massive fault. Well, it first struck, because there was two operations. The squirrel got on and it struck and caused it to flash over. The breaker opened up and then closed back immediately, and that plasma is still there, that ball of fire. And when that came back second time, it was like 8,300 amps per phase, which is a big time fault. And it took the breaker out immediately. I've got a program, so on a massive fault, it doesn't sit there and hit and hit and hit and burn wire down. If it's over 8,000 amps, it just cuts it off, one shot. I'm sorry, I'd forgotten that your transformer went out too.
Yeah,
So,
sure did.
well,
4th of July.
and it looks like that. Just be glad there wasn't a 200 amp fuse up there that blew, because it sounded like a cannon going off in your ear. I've had that happen. Make you kind of gunshot.
Well, think about it. In our bulb, they were going to tell you they were going to come back and replace our bulb because it comes off and on constantly. It's never, and they probably forgot.
Yellow
I know
bulb?
they were busy.
I'll get them to do that. Can you make a note?
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, Lord.
Okay.
I would die.
It'll make you pucker. It will.
I do too.
And I've seen a lot worse. It's no fun. You get used to it. Any more questions, comments?
I have none.
Okay, if that's it, I guess we can adjourn the meeting.
All right, we stand adjourned.